You know, I have a son who runs. He's a runner. This is going to come back to the Republican, National Committee and their 20 points. So just stay with me. I have a son who's a runner, a pretty good one, actually. And he made state as a freshman. I'm proud of him. Did very well. And he goes to state, and now he's competing against all these juniors and seniors. And they blow him out of the water. He did very well, but he just murdered him, just crushed him. So much faster. And I was talking to him afterwards, and there was one kid in particular. He was so fast, he just destroyed everybody else. He was so fast, he kept having to wave the pace car forward because he was catching the pace car, the car that goes in front of him to tell him where to go. Right? And I talked to my son about this afterwards, and I said to him, James, do you want to win state like that kid did? You bet I do, Dad. How bad do you want to win state? Do you think that kid woke up that morning and decided that was the morning he was going to win state and that was the day he decided he was going to work? Or did that kid put in the work to make sure he earned state for years? I said, you want to win state your senior year? Today, it will determine whether or not you win state your senior year. We kind of had one of those talks. Don't tell me what you want. Show me what you want. Don't tell me I want to be a champion. I want to be good at something. Show me. I will know you actually want it if tomorrow morning when I wake up to get a cup of coffee, you're out there on the road putting in the work. Republicans made a bunch of headlines. They put out a 20-point plan. 20-point plan. These are the things we stand for. And there's all kinds of controversy around it. A lot of people love it. That's so good. Reduce inflation, all these things on there. A lot of people are angry with it. Why did they take out the pro-life stuff? And look, you're seeing it on the screen. You can go look it up. But as an example, I just want to point to one thing in particular. Number 19. And I could have done this with any of them, keep in mind. We just chose to do number 19. This is number 19 on the list. This is the new Republican platform. Secure our elections, including same-day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. That's number 19, right there on the list. Okay. Whoa. That sounds great, right? Who would have a problem with that? Isn't that awesome? That's what Republicans want. Republicans want secure elections, no cheating. And they want that. You know how we can tell they want that? Well, they told us. But I wonder, what have they done to show us? Because Republicans all say that. You've probably said it. I know I've said it. Everyone on the right says it. I want secure elections, no cheating, same-day voting. We all say it. Let's see what happened when it was time to prove that's what we wanted. Remember Dan Kelly? You remember the name? If you watch this show, you remember the name Dan Kelly. In case maybe you're a little fuzzy on the details, he was running for the Supreme Court in Wisconsin. He was going to determine whether we had a righty court or a dirty commie court. Now, it wasn't Donald Trump. It wasn't one of these super sexy elections. MAGA, baby! Just little things like the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And it was going to determine how Wisconsin ran their elections. And do you remember when we talked to Scott Pressler about that race?
This is the most consequential election of 2023, Jesse. Right now I'm in Wisconsin. The current makeup of the Wisconsin Supreme Court is 4 conservatives to 3 liberals. However, one of those conservatives is retiring, meaning that if we are not successful at electing Justice Daniel Kelly on April 4th in the general spring election, then that court will flip from conservative to liberal. Now, why is this important? Because the liberals have already indicated that they're going to put their thumbs on the scale. And that means that Wisconsin, which currently has voter ID, we could lose voter ID going into 2024. We could lose proof of residency, which is required to register to vote in the state of Wisconsin. And I'll remind you that a conservative court here in Wisconsin deemed that unmanned drop boxes are illegal. Meaning, if the court flips liberal, you're going to have unmanned drop boxes on every street corner in Green Bay, Eau Claire, Milwaukee, Madison, and it's going to be an arduous uphill battle in order to win Wisconsin in the White House in 2024.
Remember that? Remember, we talked about that race extensively on this show. Scott Pressler, to his credit, talked about it on my radio show. And then Republicans, as part of their platform, they want election integrity. On the day when Dan Kelly, on the day he had his election, Republicans in Wisconsin, they were watching the game. They were T-ball. They had other stuff to do. Election, huh? I'm voting Trump. I don't have to show up at any other election. And of course, Dan Kelly lost. Now the communists control the Wisconsin Supreme Court. The Wisconsin Supreme Court, controlled by communists, have just got done determining that unmanned drop boxes are going to be the game they play in the 2024 election. Donald Trump very likely cannot walk into the White House without Wisconsin. You see, I don't mean to be snarky. I really, really, really don't. I'm just so incredibly tired of being told what the right wants and never, ever, ever shown what the right wants. Everyone was asking me what I thought about this platform. Hey, what do you think about these 20 points? Jesse, they took out the pro-life stuff. Jesse, what do you think about the inflation stuff? Jesse, what do you think about this, the weaponization of government stuff? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Well, why would I care what 20 points the Republican Party put out when I don't think they have the guts or the brains to implement a single one of them? A single one of them. I don't care what's on there or what's not on there, because I'm tired of being told what the Republican Party's gonna do, what we wanna do, because they're all things they never do. They never do them. That's both the politicians and the Republican voter. When the time comes to actually make sure you're going to get election day integrity, Republican voters can't put down a six-pack and go to the polls and vote. When it comes time to end the weaponization of government, that's part of these Republican points they put in this whole thing. When it comes time to do that, Republicans in Congress, they can't grab their ankles fast enough for the various government departments. When it comes time, of course, there's all kinds of illegal immigration talk on there, mass deportation and things like that. Okay, that sounds great. Looks great as part of the platform. When it comes time to actually do something about it, Republicans are trying to give them amnesty. James Lankford and Mitch McConnell just got done like 5 minutes ago trying to amnesty millions of illegals. I hear all this talking about what you're going to do. I don't see much doing. Now, the communists, to their credit, again, I want to give them credit for this. The communists, not only do they say what they're going to do, they intend to implement their plans. Now, their plans are all horrific, but at least I give them credit for trying to implement it. You, of course, have heard about the SAVE Act by now. What's the SAVE Act? The Republicans introduced an act that simply said, hey, these illegals can't vote in our federal elections. This is going to, hey, states, you're not going to let illegals vote in the federal elections. Now, of course, that's a very basic thing. It's a wonderful thing. And Democrats joined in unison to shoot it down. Because Democrats intend to win. They have a plan in place, too. Their plan is to burn the United States of America to ash. And they plan on implementing that plan. They don't just talk. They do. Did you think Joe Biden brought in 20 million illegals just so they could pick the strawberries? He even got caught calling them voters at one point in time.
There's a large influx. There's even a bigger influx now in terms of Hispanic voters, or Hispanic citizens who want to become citizens. So it's just enormously important.
Why do you think they brought them here? As someone said, it's not my saying, and I don't know who came up with it, so I can't give them credit. I guess I might as well take credit myself. If Democrats thought those people coming over the border were going to vote Republican, you'd be able to see that wall from outer space. Of course they're going to vote in elections. Of course that was always the plan. And you know what? Credit to the communists for doing more than just talking. They're doing. But don't worry, the Republicans have a plan. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right.